So what we're going to do, last time what we did is, let me give you a quick recap. In our last tutorial, we talked about the profiles. What are the things that we can do through the profiles? We talked about the permission sets. So what are profile? Profile is basically one profile can be given to multiple users, and one user can have multiple profiles, right? He can have multiple profile, but at one time he can only have one profile. Okay, so through profile you can control different things. You can control what applications is visible to the user. You can select what application is it visible. You can also select what along with applications we can select what objects he has read, write, and permissions. Read, then you have create, edit, and delete permissions. And the next one is, if you can also select which fields you wanted to make it visible or read only, etc., or editable. So you can control these things to the profile. But the thing was, the problem that we had with the profile was, let's say there are a group of users and they all are working on a project, and let's say one of the user has to work on a different project for a couple period of time. All of these 4 people have a same profile. And so basically they have the same visibility on an application and all the objects and everything. But what happened was, this guy wants to work on a different project, so he needs some extra permissions. See, the difference is, I'm not talking about taking away the existing permissions. I'm saying that he needs some extra privileges, or he needs some extra permissions. So in that case, there is a concept of permission sets. Now, what is a permission set? Permission set is basically, if you wanted to grant extra permission to someone, or if you want to give more permissions to someone, then what you do is you create a permission set. Now, there are 2 things that you need to worry about while creating a permission set. Is for which profile are you creating. If this permission set can be given to one profile user, it can be given to multiple profile users, right? So if the permission set that you're creating, and you know that I'm only giving it to for this profile, then the permission set should also belong to the same profile. Okay, but if the permission set you want to give it to multiple users, and they belong to different set of profiles, then what you have to do is you can just create a one with the no license, and basically it will work with all the users with different license. Okay. Now, through permission sets, another point to be noted, you can only give permissions. You cannot take away the existing permissions that the user has received through the profile. Okay, so that is what the permission sets are for. So we have just permission sets. Yeah, and one user can have only one profile at a time, but one user can have multiple permission sets. Okay, he can have multiple permission sets. So now we have talked about what we discussed last class. Now, next thing is we're gonna, any question? That was for the profiles. Yeah.
So from that line onward, whenever we have to do changes, do always we have to go on the original one and create clone, or just we have to go on the clone one? Every time, suppose like today I have made some changes in that, making clone, and then I put some changes in the fields or something. After a few days, again I want to do some changes in some settings or something like that. Then I again have to go on the original one, make clone.
No. You have to go to the clone one. See, let's say you are a user, okay, and you want some extra permissions. So what you did is you went to you went to your profile and you cloned it. Let's say that this is a clone profile. So now this user does not have any more this profile. He has a clone profile. And now if you wanted to give more permissions to this user, you just have to go to your clone profile and make those additional changes. So automatically you will get those changes. So every changes you want, you don't have to create a clone one. You just have to edit the clone profile that you have created. The whole purpose of creating the clone profile is you cannot change a lot of things in the standard profile, so you go for creating a clone profile.
From that point onwards, clone will be his original.
If you assign it to him. So if you have not assigned him to him, then there is you can have 2 profile, but it's still, if the user is pointing to the old one, if you're changing clone one, is not going to make a difference, because that user still points to the original profile. So you have to first make sure that user is now pointing to a new profile, and then you're making changes to that profile. See, it's just logical. See, if it's like, if you want to use that car, you need to take the keys for that car, right? If you want to use it, similarly, if you wanted to use that user and you're changing that profile, and if that profile does not belong to the user, there's no point of changing it, right? because that user is still pointing to the old one. So first you need to configure the copy of this profile, and then you need to assign that user with this profile. So this user is linked to this profile instead of that one.
So I think that was automatically connected. We didn't do anything.
No, we did it. Remember, we went to the users section here.
All the clone does make a photocopy, but
Yeah.
you still have to make that connection.
Yeah.
The connection is still at the default user. You have to make that connection to the clone.
Where we did that?
So if you go to the user section here, and in this user section, if you want to edit, let's say, this particular person, then what is going to happen is from the role level, from the user, where is the profile? From here you picked up the other one.
Yeah, this one once we have did that one.
Yeah.
So now onward this will continue, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Older one is deleted.
Yeah. It's not deleted, but it's,
I mean, it's in the stock of it. We are not.
this user is no more assigned to that profile. Yeah.
And one thing more, like when we were giving permission sets, like you said, like suppose you have 3 or more employees doing the same thing, and you give that user license and then the profile, right? So everything was same. Like suppose identity to 3 persons, right? Same license to 3 persons, and then the same profile to 3 persons for permission sets. So can we give like the same license to different people? Like, because I think somewhere you said like under one license you can give only to something you don't know.
See, what I was talking was, I didn't get your question right, but okay. So in licenses, one user, if let's say you have a company and he needs 5 users, there are 5 people working in the company, you need 5 licenses. Okay, 5 licenses. Now 5 licenses can be of different types. So if you look here, these are the different licenses that Salesforce gives to you. Force.com app subscription, Force.com free identity, Salesforce platform. There's another one, Salesforce. So these are different licenses. Under each licenses, there are certain profiles. So under partner app subscription, these are the profiles you get. Under Force.com free, these are the licenses you get. Under the Salesforce platform, these are the different profiles you get. So each of the license has some corresponding profiles to it.
So suppose like you have 3-4 employees under you as a QA. So you have to give the same license to everyone, or like anyone?
You have to give same profile to everyone. So if you're giving same profile, that belong to a same license.
Oh, profile should be same.
Each one of us will have a license.
We cannot share license.
We can share licenses, but we can share profiles. So you can have a QA profile, I can have a QA profile, you can
But
have
then
a
I can also have a QA and Salesforce profile. And you can have a QA and...
No,
No. You can only have one profile at a time.
You can only have one profile at a time. You can go back and you can be changed to another profile.
Exactly.
But you cannot have 2 profiles.
Exactly.
No, I mean, like suppose here, like Salesforce platform, like you are admin, we 3 are your employees. So we all 3 can have Salesforce platform and the same profile we all 3 can have.
But we're individual.
And then you can set
I
permission.
think what she's kind of going to get confused is user and license, between user and license. Right?
License and profile actually. User license and profile.
Yeah.
License is like a authorization that you work for that company. That's all. You need a license to prove that, okay, I work for this company. I have a license.
I will not give, like admin will give.
Yeah.
Yes.
So admin can give like same license to 3, same I mean like identity suppose. You can give identity license to him also.
You're talking about profile. Identity is not a license. You're talking about the profile. You can give same profile to all of these. See, license.
If you click on user license, your identity is there.
See identity. So here you have an identity. Identity is just the name of that license type. You can think. It's not you're not giving one license to 3 people. No. You're giving one license, which is the name of identity, which is kind of similar. You're giving all 3 the same license. Okay, license is no way in discussion here. Profiles you can give to the different people. The same profile you can give to different people. Okay, let me explain.
I only have one profile.
Yeah.
You can go back to the drawing. One person can have one person can have one.
See, you tell me what I'll draw it. One person.
So you can have a system admin profile at one time, but then next week you were your company decided they want to give you the QA profile.
Right.
So you can only have the QA profile. You won't have the system admin.
Then take
profile.
away the system profile.
System admin profile has all the functionality.
But
that
I
you
can
give
still be in the QA profile, but if this system admin checks on all the boxes on what I can view, then I can view everything.
Because you changed them, but that depends on what profile you have.
Right? So our company, if they say that QA can be visible to everything, because they can
Exactly.
test everything, then you're fine.
Yeah.
And then you may not have the editing permissions, depending on the company. But you will have the chance to see it be visible to you.
Because through profile you have that stuff.
Yeah. So Salesforce admin should have all the profiles to be visible and do the additions.
Right, that's how we check that box.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, going back to your question, what I was asking was, so let's say there are licenses, okay, there are different licenses, and there is identity license, there is a Salesforce license. Let's say a profile 1 comes under identity license, okay, profile 2 comes under this license. Okay, profile 2 comes under, there is a Salesforce license, the profile 3 comes under it, and profile 4 comes under it. Let's say there are 4 people working in your company. If you give P3 profile to each one of them, Shikha, what license they have? There is identity, there is Salesforce license.
Salesforce.
Because P3 belongs to Salesforce license.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean all 3 of them are sharing the same license. That means this person has its own copy, this person has another license, this person has another license, and this person has another license, but all of them have a profile.
So, I mean, like identity, under identity license, you can give it to as many as, like, suppose you have 4 identity licenses. So you can give it to 4 different people.
Exactly. You can give to 4 different people. Now from that identity license, this person can have P3 profile, let's say, and another one can have P4, because P4 is also belongs to the Salesforce license. So 2 profiles are belonging to the Salesforce license. 2 people you can give P4, 2 people you can give P3. If you have only 4 Salesforce license, you can only give to 4 people. You can't give it to you can't give it to 100 people. You can only give to 4 individuals because you have only 4 licenses.
And suppose like
you pay for licenses, you don't pay for profiles. Profiles comes automatically for that licenses.
And suppose all the 4 users are for the same role. They are all QAs. So you can give different licenses to them as according to your availability. Like you have 4 licenses, but you have 2 identity and 2 Salesforce. It doesn't matter which type of license you are giving to which type of role or which.
But if that profile is not available under that license, how are you going to give that profile to this?
No, like you were saying that in identity, you like suppose to me and to her you have given the identity license, right? And to him you have given the sales one. It doesn't matter like what role we are playing or something like that. You can give any to anyone. You can assign anyone to them.
But what about the profile? Profiles are different, right?
Yeah, profiles are different.
Yeah.
My profile is different. Her profile is different. His profile is different.
Okay.
I mean, like we both can have the identity license, not sharing one, identity license, and he can have Salesforce license, although we all are doing the same work, same role and responsibilities we have. I am an admin. I have 3 QAs under me, right? They all have different profiles. I can give...
Okay, so they all have different profiles.
Yeah, different licenses too. So it doesn't matter they are same or they're different. I mean, they can use identity license, they can use Salesforce.
That depends on, okay, so you have to think what profile they have, and what if they have 3 different profiles, those 3 different profile can belong to 3 different licenses, or 3 different profile can belong to same licenses.
Yeah. Oh, got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is no limitation of license. It's like depending upon your company, how many company
he has, the like one you pay, let's say $50 for one license. If you have 500 people, that's per month. So that's how they $50, like $90 per user per month. That much depending upon what edition and what license you have.
But does it come out cheaper than actually having equipment and everything?
Exactly, they come way cheaper. People used to have Siebel CRM and all those kinds of stuff. Now they're moving away from that. A lot of people are coming with Salesforce, and now they have this. SAP is also coming with a cloud CRM. So because it's not only cheaper, the another thing is you can deploy projects faster. You don't have to like wait
You
for
don't have
1
to
year
have-
to have the hardware set up and then use it and then do the development. With the cloud, you can go ahead and say, hey, I need extra space, give it to me, and they'll give you the extra space in an hour, and then you can do whatever the heck you want with that kind of space. You don't have to worry about those. That's all.
CCNA certification guidelines, this goes on.
No, those yeah, means like you. There's nothing like it'll give you the best part is like this Salesforce itself comes with 4 releases every year, and you know how much we do. Like whenever I work on the Java side, our company does 1, 2 maximum releases a year, because our company also we make those sound equipments, touch panels and all that. So we have a layover that okay, we need to wait on our hardware to deploy our products. So cloud makes it super easy to do the changes. Okay, what was another question coming up?
So I mean, like as an admin, you have to manage licenses also. It's your responsibility. Like company will say like you will get only this much money for purchasing license, or you have to adjust on that.
You think in 2 parts. You think in 2
You're thinking too deep. You don't have to worry about the management side and all that.
Admin will not.
Yeah, admin will be no user will. Yeah, exactly.
This is a book, I mean, this is the tabs, or this is the objects you should have
Yeah.
visible to, and this is what you can do,
That's
edit,
it.
and this is what.
Whenever a new employee comes, his role is to create that particular user, his login credentials, give him that login credentials, and he's happy to leave it to him. Okay?
अब वो भाई मक्खन लगाना होगा खाना नहीं रोटी नहीं पकानी right?
Yeah,
Bread खरीद के नहीं लाना.
exactly. Okay. So next thing that we have to do is, so what we talked about is profiles and permission sets. Today we are going to go ahead and talk about the roles and OWD. Now, guys, the thing was here, everyone, we have, let's say, these many users in our company. If you go back here,
You're recording?
I'm recording it. The thing is, okay, so now what it is, so let's say we have, these are the different users in our company we have. These are different users we have in a company. Now the thing is, now each one of you, let's say you are logged in as, see, one more time, a system admin will never have an issue viewing something, okay, because he's a system admin. Now the next thing here is, if you're logged out and log in back again, where is my recruiting app? Okay, so if you go to the recruiting app here, let's say I log out and log in back again as Salman Khan, okay? And if you go to position, he can see all the records, right? He can see all the records that even have been created by system admin, but he can see it. Let's say we go ahead and first let me give him some permissions. Now what we're going to see here is, so far every user in this organization is able to see each other's records, right? You can see Shika's record, Shika can see your record. Let's say you don't want that to happen. You don't want everyone to see each other's record. You only want that particular user should be able to only see the records that he created. You know what I'm saying? Right now what's happening is Salman Khan can see everyone's record. Okay, if I log out and log in back again as someone else, he's able to see those records as well. So if I log out and log in back again, he's positioned, if you go to the Will Smith's profile, Will Smith user, he's able to see his records. Okay, so let's say the requirement is I don't want my records to be seen by other people, the records that I have created. Okay, so before doing that, let me first go ahead and create some records. Now under the position, I'm not able to do it. Why I'm not able to do it? Why I'm not able to create these positions here? Huh?
Because like you are on Will Smith and you have not given permission of edit to him.
Off.
Create
Okay, so where should I go ahead and do it?
yours profile, admin profile.
Okay, then if I go log in back again as admin, then what from there?
Users.
Okay, let's users. Okay. No, users. Now where I have to go?
Add particular dev profile.
Which user are you talking about?
Will Smith.
Okay, so where should I go? Edit on what? Edit here?
No.
Right?
What do you need to do? First tell me, what do you need to change? What? So where are the permissions there?
In his profile.
So which profile he belongs
His
to?
name. I think you have to click on his name.
Okay, if I click on his name, then
You edit it, and then you share it. So you're trying to make sure that he cannot see other people.
No, he can't.
No, we have changed the.
I want him to give, he right now does not have permission to create new position records. I want him to give that new permissions on creating the position records. So where should I go and do that?
Right here, edit permission sets. Edit assignments. Permission set assignments.
Do you have to go through that far, or you can do somewhere else also?
You can type in the search box also permission sets.
Guys, Will Smith has a profile of this person. I want to give him create permission. So I'll just go ahead and change the create permission profile. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I have to go to the longer route? I can just go up here, scroll down, and then I can go to that. On the position, he does not have create, so I'll just give him the create checkbox and then hit the. So we'll talk about view all and modify all after this OWD. Okay, this is little different than the rest of those. So save it here, and the next one is. So now if I wanted to give it to Salman Khan, where I have to go?
You go to his name.
So now, because all of these have the same profile, then all of them will be able to create it, right? Because the profile, all of them have same. Are you following everyone, Shikha, Binish? Okay, good. So now what will I do is I will go ahead and create some records under as logged in as Will Smith. So Will Smith is the owner of these records because I'm creating the records as a Will Smith user. So I'm going to create one record W1. Okay, because it's Will Smith. Then I'm creating another one, new W2. Three, save. So now what I've done is I am logged in as positions. Okay, 1, 2, and 3, and these are my three different records that are created by Will Smith. Okay, everyone following? 3 position records. So he has created 3 positions. Now what will I do is I log out and I will create 3 records as Salman Khan also. Now Salman Khan will be able to see the records which Will Smith has created because right now he is able to see the records which Will Smith has created. Let's say he also creates a couple of records. He goes ahead and create S1, S2, and S3. Okay, he also creates 3 records as Salman Khan. So who is the owner? You will see the owner will be Salman Khan. Okay, S2, S3. So now you are logged in as, why Koti is not coming?
You said he was not gonna.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So S1, S2, and S3. So now Salman Khan has created 3 records. Okay, now let me log out as Priyanka. Now what all records Priyanka will be able to see, guys? Tell me, what all records Priyanka will be able to see under positions?
You should be able to everything because she's not blocked.
She will be able to see Will Smith record or not?
Yes.
Okay. So she will be able to see Salman Khan records, S1, S2, S3, and Will Smith records, and all the other records that system admin has created. Now let's say we don't want to do that. We don't want that, okay, I only want to make sure that I'm able to see the records that I have created and people don't see other people's records. Okay, let's say I'm working in a sales team and I don't want to share what I'm working on with other people in my team. Okay, so there is a concept of something called as OWD. OWD. Now what do you mean by OWD? It's called organization wide default. Organization wide default setting. Okay, there are 3 different options for this. One is public, then we have private read only, and then we have private read and edit. Public and private, basically what does it mean is public means if the OWD setting for that object, okay, OWD setting for the position object, okay, I'll do great one. Okay, OWD you have organization wide default, okay. Now, so they can be public, private read, and then it can be private read and edit, okay. Now, public and private means, so an OWD is for each objects. It's for objects, like is it object level? It's not for the whole organization. It's like OWD for positions object can be different. OWD for candidates can be different. OWD for job applications can be there. So it belongs for each object you have this property. Okay. If you have set this positions OWD to public means everyone will be able to see everyone's record. If you have set the position to private means you will be only able to see the records that you have created. Okay. So there are two main options, public and private. Public means everyone will be able to see the records that they have created. What do you mean by private? Means the records that you have created will only be shared, will be visible to the records that you have created. Not everyone's else records will be visible. Okay, got it? Right now, Priyanka is able to see Salman Khan's and everyone's records. Even Salman Khan is able to see Will Smith's and Priyanka's records, everything. Now let me go back and let me create 3 records as Priyanka also. So just to P1, P2, P3. What are you saying?
Instead of save, you hit the middle one, save new.
Yeah, I know, I forgot. So now you have 3 records, P1, P2, P3. She's able to see everyone's record. Okay, so now let's write it down who created what. So if you see, Salman Khan has created S1, S2 and S3. Will Smith has created W1, W2 and W3, and the last one is Priyanka has created P1, P2 and P3. Okay, now everyone is able to see each other's record. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the OWD to private. Okay, right now what it is, to check that you first log out from Priyanka and you log in back again as the system admin.
Oh, so only the admin can
Exactly.
Admin can only control that. Yeah.
Everything is controlled by
if you're doing something you don't want to share, then how can you block that? You call the admin. And
See, the admin is the one who sees everything. They'll see all the records. They see everything on the
right,
object.
but if you're just a regular person creating you an item,
Then you have to call the admin.
But we'll come again with the question.
Like he's saying, like every time you have to call the admin, please block this item, we have created this thing new and I don't want this thing to be shared with.
No. See, these are the things admin knows it at organization level, which all objects, records you wanted to share among each
so
other.
they give you a whole,
Yeah,
a map.
Yeah, which objects. Mostly this OWD will not be private for a lot of objects. Only for certain objects that you don't want to share, let's say what you don't want to share with everyone in a company, then you
like
can make.
Amount.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the like the revenues, or those are the objects that records that you don't want to share.
But those are all given to you at default, like in the beginning.
You can't call to admin and say, hey, can make this high. No, that is the organization decision that which objects do you want them to not share the records. Okay, it's not that you do that. So now if I wanted to go back here, there is something called as sharing settings. Under the sharing settings, there is an option of OWD. Okay, sharing settings. Click on the sharing settings and here you will see the organization wide defaults. So you go to the setup here and on the left side you type in sharing settings and these are all the OWD, and this is what I was telling. See, OWD is for each object. For position it is public read write, for review it is controlled by the parent. So when you're talking about a child object which is in a master detail relationship, everything is controlled by the parent. Okay, See, we have employment website, public read and write, candidate, we have public read and write. So everything is public read and write. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it. And now for the position object, instead of giving a public read, I will give it private. Also they change, it's private and private read only. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change it to private. Go ahead and hit save. Okay. So now what you have done is for the position object, you have changed from, let me just refresh it. Now if I log out and log in back again, and if I go back to, and you will also get an email, guys. I got an email from the Salesforce saying that,
You get a thing right here.
that's fine, but you also got an email.
What is this? This is between internal access and external access?
Where did you see that? So, I think it completed. Your request to change your organization-wide shading default has successfully completed. Yeah, tell me, what is it?
When we were changing it to private, like there are two columns, like internal access and there are two ones. So this side also checkbox.
So what is public read write transfer?
Here, like we can change that one also. Here also we can
I'm not
change.
changing that.
So if you can, so by default, whatever you change here, you are not allowed to change the external access.
Okay.
Because of the yeah, you're not able to do that. But you can change the internal access. Okay? Now,
We can click on that one also. The down position one.
which one are you talking about?
Position.
Yeah.
And here we can check on this one also and here also.
If you change this one, automatically that will be changed. Right now it's copying whatever you have put it on the internal, it automatically goes to the external.
My case is same. It's a different like.
So the position object has a OWD setting of private. Initially it was public. Now we have changed it to private. Now what I'm going to do is, now what should happen is Priyanka should only be able to see the records that she created. Okay. And if I logged in as Priyanka and if I go back to the position records, if I click go, now you can see that Priyanka is only able to see the records you have created. P1, P2, P3. See, under candidates, she will be able to see everything because we have changed the OWD for the position object, not for the candidate object. Okay?
So it will be applicable for all. It's not for only Priyanka can see others.
Yes.
It is blocked for everyone.
Yes. So that means if you have made the private setting for that object, whoever, then what will happen is the records that the user has created, he will only see the records that he has created, not everyone else.
Profile. So if Priyanka has the same profile as Salman, then Salman and Priyanka will only see their own settings because we changed
OWD, that's the organization level. So now if I log out and log in back again as Salman will be able to see the records that he has created, S1, S2, S3. And if I log out and log in back again as Will Smith, then Will Smith will be only able to see the records that he created. Okay? So Will Smith will be able to see the records that he created. So now let me go back and recap. So what is an OWD setting? OWD setting defines which records the user can see. If you want to make sure that the records that he has created, that should be the only records people should be visible to, then what you do is you go to the OWD and you change from public to private. Okay? That is what the OWD settings is for. So if the OWD setting for a particular object is public, that means everyone will be able to see each other's record. And if the OWD for the OWD is private, then people will only be able to see the records that they have created. Okay. So now this is what we have is the OWD setting, public and private. Next question that we have here is, don't you see there is an issue with this approach? Let's say you are a manager. Okay. And you have 3 employees working under you. Salman, Will Smith, and Priyanka, right? And you are the manager. You are the person to whom these people report. You want to see what these people are working on, right? Okay, my OWD is private. I can understand. Okay, that's fine. Now, being the manager, I should be able to see the records what my team is working on. That's a generic concern, right? I want to know what my team is working on. So there is a concept of roles. Okay. Now, what does this role tells you? Role comes into picture when the OWD is private. See, if your OWD is public, you don't care because you're able to see everyone's records. When OWD is private and you wanted to have the authority to see other people's records, even though OWD is private, then there is an exception comes as a role. So if these three people report to this person, then he will be able to see other people these teammates records, no matter what. Even if the OWD is private, he'll still be able to see these the records that are created by them because he is the manager for them. There's a concept, this is called as roles. Now, what we're going to do is we will create a couple of roles for these users. So we have right now Salman as the user, Priyanka as the user, and then you have Will Smith as the user. And so hierarchy goes, these are called grant access using hierarchy. So there is a checkbox here, guys, if you remember. I'll show you one more time. So these are the three users. You can always do something like this. Salman, Priyanka reports to Salman, and Will Smith reports to Priyanka. So Salman will be able to see her records as well as this person's record. Priyanka will only be able to see the records that Will Smith has created. Okay, so these are called as grant access using hierarchies. Okay, I'll tell you what does that mean. If you log out back again, and here you will notice that even, guys, the OWD is private. See, still admin is able to see everything. Even the OWD was private, okay, because he's the system admin. Now, there was something called as setup, and then we go to the sharing settings, right? That was a place to access the sharing settings and click the edit button. Okay, so sorry about that. So you see this grant access using hierarchies checkbox here. If you're talking about roles, this checkbox should be checked. Grant access using hierarchies. Roles means hierarchies, right? You're basically giving the permission based on a hierarchy structure of your company. Grant access using hierarchy checkbox should be checked if you want the roles to come into play. If you don't want the roles to come into play, you can uncheck this checkbox. So the purpose of this checkbox is if you want the roles to work, if you want the roles to control everything, then you have to do grant access using hierarchies. Even if you have created roles and you still don't want it to work according to them, then this checkbox will be unchecked. So the roles will not come into consideration. So this checkbox comes into consideration when we talk about roles.
When you go to edit, they're grayed out because you can't change.
You can change it for the other the ones that you have created.
Custom ones, not the default.
Okay. So next thing is, so we'll talk about the roles. So so you know what is the main purpose of the roles here, because you wanted to see what your team is working on and you wanted to see their records even if the OWD is private. Okay, you want to do that. Now we'll go. I just went to roles here. And Salesforce has given you some samples, product-based sample. You see these kind of structure: executive staff, VPs, hardware VP, software VP, networking. If you move to the territory-based, these are what they use. If you move to the company size, these are the different we have it. Okay, Fortune 1000 director, mid-market. So these are different company, like this Salesforce has given to you. Now, if you want to set up role, let's say this is the role structure. You click on the plus button. That's what it is. Okay. Let's say under the CEO, we added a role here. Okay, we add a role. So here it says, let's say director of recruiting.
So you just edit it?
You just clicked on the add role. Whichever you want to do it. Let me just go back. So right now, if let me explain to you. So I am under this setup roles. I went to setup roles. Okay, and this is the whole structure. So under CEO, let's say I wanted to add a role. Okay, so I clicked on that particular. If you wanted to add a role which reports to CFO, then you will click on this one. You see the add role here, Vinish?
Yeah.
Got it? Okay, so now if I'm let's say I wanted to add a role which reports to CEO. So I'm reporting to CEO. So what I'm doing, CEO will be able to see. Okay, so I'm creating a record called Director of Recruiting and hit the save button. Okay, now assign users to the role. So which person you want to make the, let's say we make okay, all unassigned. You see all these people who does not have a role yet. Okay, let's say I wanted to give this to Salman Khan. So Salman Khan is the director of recruiting.
So how did you get all this?
The down arrow
I never
there.
find nothing done.
See, you see all assigned. So the,
Yeah.
Oh, all unassigned.
yeah, because you were at all users, you can go ahead and see everyone. Yeah, first one, all unassigned or all users. When you click on all users, you'll see all the users. Okay, so I move Salman Khan as the director of the recruiting. Hit save. Okay,
We don't have all these set up.
which you should have.
We didn't get, we were just following you last week. That's why it's hard to do online because when we were following you.
Oh, you didn't
we
create
didn't
it.
create any
Also,
because you were,
50 miles an hour.
that's why it's easier to do it in class because we can.
But the class one goes a little slow, don't you think? Or is it on the K? Because the online we covered a lot of stuff that day.
Yeah, we covered
I
a
know,
lot of
because
stuff, but then
questions
we
he
couldn't
pushed,
create. Because we couldn't create these profiles that we wanted to create. And that's what one of my questions was last week was how,
I thought
just pay attention to what we're doing so we didn't create any profile.
Okay. What about, didn't you go through the recording and create it again?
Didn't know we were
So
supposed to do
if you want time, I can give you time right now.
No,
Or should I go?
Just keep going.
Keep
We'll
going.
follow you.
Okay.
So I think it is like understood, like we can assign only one person to one role.
Yeah, because that's, when you click on the drop down, you can only select one. Okay. So now if let's say I wanted to set up more roles here. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'll go back to the roles and now under the setup
Did you
roles,
save?
yeah, I saved that role, the director role, I've saved it. Okay. So now under the CEO, I have a director of recruiting now. You automatically see director of recruiting? Everyone? Vinish, you see that? Now I'm going to add another role here under the director of recruiting. So clicked on that director of recruiting and there is an add. So this should be director of recruiting. This role reports to. This is the whole purpose. That's what I wanted. Okay. Let's say this is the senior manager of recruiting. And hit the save button. Then assign users to the role. Who will be having these roles? So let's say I wanted to assign Priyanka and Will Smith to these roles. Okay, so Priyanka Chopra and Will Smith both belong to this role. Okay, and hit the save button. So what I've done here is, let me explain. What I've done here is I have created a director of recruiting, and this is my whole company, and then I have a senior manager. Director of recruiting is Salman Khan, and senior manager is Priyanka and Will Smith. Now, if I log in as Salman, which all records I will be able to see? What, everything? How many records he will be able to see?
336.
3?
3 you have given to him and 3 to 5.
Okay, what about the roles that he already owns?
So he'll see 9 roles.
9 records.
9 records.
Now, what about Priyanka? How many records Priyanka will be able to see? So let's just take it. Let's just one step at a time. Let's log out and log in back again as Salman and see how many records he's able to see. What is the OWD setting right now? Private. Okay. Manager Salman Khan is the director and two people report to him, Priyanka and Will Smith. So if I log out and log in back again as Salman Khan, and if I go to positions, how many records? P1, P2, P3, Salman Khan and Will Smith. So he's able to see 9 records. Okay. Now if I log out and log in back again as Priyanka, which all records Priyanka will be able to see? How many are there? P1, P2, P3. Will she be able to see the records created by Will Smith?
No.
Even if they have the same role?
No, because she's not under him. I mean, he's
Exactly.
not under her.
Exactly. Very good. So now if I go back to Priyanka Chopra and if I log in, if I go to positions, she can only see the records that she has created, not the records that Will Smith has created. Okay. So now Will Smith will be able to see the records that Will Smith has created, not anyone else. So if I log in